Fine Jewelry, we're here to help you celebrate life's precious moments. From engagements, Mother's Day and birthdays, to anniversaries, Father's Day, and graduation. Tracy's Fine Jewelry is with you every step of the way with the perfect gift to celebrate any occasion. Celebrating every I do, Happy Mother's Day, anniversary, graduation, and Father's Day, because every occasion is perfect with a little bit of sparkle. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, putting a sparkle on Bay County for over 50 years.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. That's 800-605-4650.
Lynnhaven, WVLQ, Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida. Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Get ready.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Panama City, Northwest Florida, Port St. Joe, Weewa, Hitchka? How are y'all doing this afternoon? I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick. We should have Tyler Bishop here in a little while, and we are the Afternoon Underdogs. And we're in the CBC Construction Studios. You can go to cbcconstruction.com if you're looking for a job, or you can give them a call at 850-747-3815. CBC Construction for all your construction needs. Again, taking your phone calls today at 850-215-6290, as we always do here on the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves Country. The next Braves game will be tonight after our show, coverage starting at 6 o'clock for a 6:15 first pitch. The call-in question of the day, which of course you can call in, talk about it. You can text in and talk about it. Whatever it is, whatever method fits better for you will work for us here. The call-in question of the day: if your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? So I took the liberty to go through all four of my sports teams, and I have a different restaurant for each one. One of the restaurants I've never been to, but we got a lot of great Facebook comments, so we'll go over that. I'll give my answers. Tyler Bishop will talk about Georgia and whatever other team that he got, and compare that to a fast food restaurant. I have an idea of, because they don't need to be open on Sundays for Georgia to play. Caveman Rick, get some fast food restaurants for your teams. We've got a great show lined up for you today. Andrew Weiss is going to join us in the next segment at 4:20, talking about the NHL playoffs. He's a great NHL mind and a big NHL fan, so we'll have a lot of fun with that. Top of hour number 2, we've got Tyler Bishop in the building with us, and so we'll be going over Tuesday's takes with Tyler Bishop. And then at 5:20, I've got another little fun segment since we're kind of here in the off season. We could be talking NBA and NHL playoffs. We'll find a way to fit those in at some point. But I've got a mascot mayhem little segment for us, which pits mascots up against other mascots, not just in like some battle royale, but in certain little events, and that should be a lot of fun. We'll wrap it up with our local scores. Congratulations to all of our baseball teams that are still competing in the playoffs, and then softball getting ready to go underway, and of course the Gulf Coast State College Commodores men's baseball team doing some big things over there. Tyler, what's going on today, my friend?
Man, it's another beautiful day. Just running some errands, getting things taken care of today. You know, getting a nice productive day outside of the office.
And another beautiful day here in Panama City. Humidity a little bit up, but just give it a month. Give it a month. Not even a full month, and that humidity will not go away. K-Man Rick donning the Philadelphia Phillies gear per usual. What's going on, my bud?
Having a good day today. Glad to be in here with you guys today in the studio. Like you said, nice weather outside. Just enjoy it now, because you said another 3 or 4 weeks it's going to be pretty bad out.
Well, before we dive into our call-in question of the day, by the way, that number is 850-215-6290. That question, if your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? But we've got to give a very special happy birthday to Adam Goff, who just picked him up a putter from the great Golf Plus this afternoon for his birthday. So make sure y'all get over there to Golf Plus for all your golfing needs. He got a Lombardi trophy, so I commented on it and said, man, you could take that thing to the daggum Super Bowl. I tell you what, bro. That's a good-looking putter, though.
And it's scientifically proven. You get a new putter, you start making more putts, right? That's the way.
I will say that once I got my putter re-gripped, I've been swinging basically the same putter for, actually, when I first got into golf, I would try out all the different head styles of putters, like, because the big one, it was like the bigger the putter, man, that's got to give you a bigger advantage, right? It does not work that way. Then I settled on buying a Nike Ignite. I got it for like $20 or $40, and this, at this point in time, the Nike Ignite was already way outdated, and so just imagine where it is now. But I'm like, really, how does a putter go out of date? Like, if you get comfortable with a putter, that's it. Me and you for life. This is marriage, and it's not like a new 2025 type marriage where it's just going to fizzle out within, a few years or so. Me and this Nike Ignite are ready to go together for life.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, the technology I get can change with clubs, with like irons and stuff like that, and you can wear out the grooves and stuff. But like, I know you can wear out a putter a little, but to your point, like, it's more about getting comfortable with your putter as much as like it being like top of the line, I feel like.
And if I was good at golf, that would be a totally different. That'd be a totally different story. I might be upgrading every 1 or 3, or 1 to 3 years. But the fact that it's not like that leaves me just playing with whatever it is that I got. I'm still swinging the daggum Nike Sasquatch. What driver are you on?
I've got a TaylorMade Aero Burner, I think is what it is.
Aero Burner, okay.
Yeah, I got that and a 3 hybrid as like a bundle.
Nice.
On sale.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago now. Like, I mean, it's, that my irons are at least 5 years old. But part of it is I don't play enough to like,
right.
And I'm not good enough, If I've decided if I was going to upgrade, I'd probably go get fitted. And because I'm a little bit above average.
I know a place for that too. Golf Plus,
right?
Yeah.
No, actually, they had one of their service leaders come in one day when I was working. I was talking a little bit about it, and I was like, "Oh, hey, are you the guy that goes on the show?" No, that's the owner. But he's like, "Yeah, man, come over, get fitted." And I think if I was gonna do it, it'd probably be worth the money, being a little bit above average height and everything like that. But that's a lot of money for a sport. A, I'm not great at, and B, I don't play enough for it to be worth that kind of investment.
But I mean, you spend that little bit of money to get fit, which he's told me the price on it before. It's really not that bad at all. Because I had a number in my head of what I thought he was going to tell me when he told me that. I was like, oh wow, like, is that a discount? No, that's not a discount. That's just what it is. I'm like, okay, that's really not that bad to shape. Like, and especially if you're like me and you are going to use the same clubs for a good little while, so it is kind of a good investment there, especially if you care about your scores. Me, I care a little bit about the scores. I care more about having a good time with the bros and broettes out there. Call-in question of the day. If your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? Live and local from the CBCConstruction.com studios. Let's dive into it. 850-215-6290. For me, we'll start off with my 4 teams, and then we'll go into the comments unless you guys are ready to dive into it. First, I'm going to go with the Braves. And this isn't necessarily fast food, but I guess it depends on the time of day that you end up going. But the Braves, they're kind of synonymous with Waffle House, right? Like, and it's not the best food in the world. The Braves aren't the best product in the world. But when they're hitting right, when Waffle House is hitting right, it just makes sense. So for me, I know it's not a fast food restaurant, but since I made the game up, I'll take the liberty of going a little outside of our. Hey, I was going to make Alabama Golden Corral because they'll give you everything you want and more, baby. But no, I'll go with the Braves being Waffle House. For the Titans, I'm going to go with KFC. I was looking up order accuracy. Chick-fil-A normally is on top in a 6-year window of order accuracy. They're like in the high 90s. I think someone just knocked them off. Not sure about that. But KFC gets orders wrong. They have an 81% order accuracy, which is at the bottom of the fast food chains. And the Titans find a way to get it wrong each and every time. Even when they make it to the Super Bowl, they were 1 yard short. So I'm going to go with the Titans being KFC just because they get the orders wrong, they get the draft picks wrong, they get the wins wrong. It doesn't matter what it is. The Tennessee Titans will find a way to get it wrong. KFC's order accuracy has been improving, so I'm hoping that the Tennessee Titans improve. We go to the Pacers. This one's a little bit different for me. Slim Chickens is the place that I'm going to go with. The reason why is I ate there the other night. The tenders were perfect. The wings were perfect. The sauces are amazing. I don't like having to pay 50 cents for extra sauce, but whatever. It is neither here nor there. The Slim Chickens, they're not on top of the chicken business, though, right? Like, they're not beating out Chick-fil-A, which is only open 6 days. They're not beating out, I would say, even Zaxby's. Maybe they're behind Popeyes, right? They're kind of a newer entity. Not saying that the Pacers are a newer entity, but they are brand-wise. They've never won anything. I don't know if Slim Chickens has won awards or not, but the Pacers have never won anything. So I'm going to call them Slim Chickens because the product that they're putting out is great. The product, and they're growing in the right direction. So we'll have to see in Game 2 of the Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers goes on tonight. Ohio Brad, I know that you're pulling very hard for those Indiana Pacers tonight. And then when we go to Alabama, I'm going to go with, this first one is a little bit more facetious because I'm going to say In-N-Out. I've never had In-N-Out, so I don't know what it's actually like or anything, but, and I'm sure you would like this, managers there, they're the highest paid managers on average basis. They get up to $160K, and here in the world of the NIL, Alabama knows how to pay those players, right? So my real one is going to be Whataburger because they've got the most vast menu, and of my teams, who's done the most amount of things from the most heartbreak to the being on top of the mountain, being joyous, Alabama. So Braves, Waffle House, Titans, KFC. The Pacers are Slim Chickens, and Alabama is Whataburger. You want to go next?
Yeah, Ness, I saw you post this on Facebook earlier, and I've been trying to come up with a good analogy all day, and I think I got one that's probably going to be as good as I can come up with. Probably not what you're expecting either. I'm going Raising Cane's.
Oh, so I also have not had that.
So Raising Cane's, it's nothing special. It's like just tenders, right? You can get 3, 4, 5, 6, or you can get like tenders on a bun. Like, it's not flashy, but you go like, and they serve a good bit of customers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're built this out, and I feel like they've grown a lot in the last 5, 6, 7 years. They've really expanded as a brand, kind of like Georgia, right? Like Kirby Smart came in the last 5, 6, 7 years, really expanded as a brand. They were good, but now they become almost the standard of football. And I'm not saying Raising Cane's the standard of fast food, but they've grown in national recognition. In Georgia, like, most people don't think of them as a flashy team, right? They expect a good running game, you expect good defense, kind of know what you're going into it. If you get some great quarterback play, that's just kind of like an added bonus. So that's kind of my rationale there. Not flashy, growing. People kind of recognize them for what they are and kind of like know what to expect when they go. They're not really expecting anything too crazy. So, yeah.
I like it. Caveman Rick, you can go through all of your teams if you'd like to.
This is tough, man.
All Philly teams just got to be cheesesteaks, right?
What would the Philadelphia Flyers? Can we start there? What would the Flyers be?
I just don't know, man. Like I said, with all these teams, and I'm kind of picky when it comes to some like good like fast food. All I know is I like a good like cheesesteak. I like a good hoagie. I like a sub sandwich, and I like pizzeria style pizza, right? So I really don't care like team wise or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Jersey Mike's around here, and I like pizzeria style pizzas. So like a New York's Famous or something like that. Don't matter what team it could be. All the teams are the same. Same food for all of them.
No, you can't say that the Phillies.
Yeah, man.
The Phillies and the Flyers are the same type of food.
Well, I mean, like
same type of not
like,
industry,
I know, like,
but
right now, like, you know, as far as the level that the teams are playing and stuff, but to ask me, like, who represents who, like, man, no offense, like, I don't care. Like, that's just the kind of food that I like, and those are my teams, and, like, it don't matter. Like, when I'm
Okay,
eating,
all right.
as long
He
as-
likes what he likes. He likes his Philly teams and he
Yeah,
likes his
man.
subs. You know,
Yeah, like, if I'm eating that stuff and I'm watching those games, like, I'm happy. You know, I don't really care what, you know. I mean, I get your premise for the game,
Yeah.
or what we're doing. I find
You just
it hard.
don't care? It's
No,
okay.
I just find it
It's
hard
okay.
to pick. You know what I'm saying? Like, to pick, like, who's what, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just what I like, and, you know, I find it
But
hard.
it's not
to-
about, you don't really have to have
choose.
the correlation of liking it or not. Like, you know,
Or
I
like,
mean,
you
I
know,
can use something I never
Or
ate
like
before.
having a correlation, like, hey, I want this restaurant to be this team, or like that
Yeah.
to be that team. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's kind of fair
Okay. Hey.
for my teams.
But I know for a fact, like the Phillies and the Eagles are in a different spot than where the 76ers and the Flyers are. So they're two different
Well, as
types of
far as
restaurants. The Eagles
the
right
way
now
they're
are a
playing right now.
five-star restaurant. So they're the Super Bowl
Yeah,
champions.
they're not even fast food, man.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
can't even count them as fast food.
That's what I'm saying.
The Eagles are a what's it, Michelin restaurant or whatever?
Yeah, 5-star, like, Michelin
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah, you get like, you know, a quarter of the portion and some
right
fancy
now-
drawings on the
right
plate.
now
Like,
Flyers
okay.
are like McDonald's.
Yeah, that's
know?
being generous.
Yeah.
They're like dumpster diving.
Yeah,
I
like-
guess that would be the Islanders, right? Since they got the number 1 overall pick, just like the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, but see, that's, man, like, the lottery's garbage, too. It should be worst team. I mean, like, you know, but then because of tanking and stuff, they have to
Yeah.
like, do the stupid lottery. But come on, man.
So
Like,
they should play games, man. Every sport should play, like, have like a little, you know, play-in tournament, but a play-out tournament.
I hate the lottery.
I saw this reel, and it was a guy coming up, like, it was some, like, MIT, like, some engine, like, really smart guy coming up with a playoff formula, basically, or a opposite of a playoff formula, kind of the same idea for the first overall pick. And I think they're supposed to be trying it out in, like, some women's league. But basically, once a team became I'm just, like, I can't remember what the league was.
I just wasn't
But
ready.
Once a team became mathematically eliminated, then you got X amount of points for every win you got, and the team with the most points had a more favorable draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was an interesting process. It does hurt the truly bad teams that just can't win a game because they're bad, not because they're tanking.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting idea as far as, like, rewarding teams for playing well, even though they could no
you
longer
could
make the playoffs.
sandbag.
So you would
could,
get
lose the
points.
lot.
You would get points for wins, though, not for losses.
You get points, like, once you
After
were
you're
mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So if you're a really bad team, you got mathematically eliminated earlier, you had
Yeah.
more chance to accumulate those points. But, like, to Rick's point, at a certain point, could you not just kind of sandbag? You could still do that, I guess, at a
Yeah,
certain
right.
point.
Yeah.
How far into the season are you really willing to start sandbagging it for the draft? It was an interesting idea as far as coming up with a legitimate solution to the draft, and not for all major sports, or any kind of sport, without, like, actually having tanking.
Relegation's the only answer, man.
But
it's like you get out of that league, and then there goes you're losing your viability when it comes to making money and revenue. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go from, like, the Premier League, you know, like they have in
Right,
soccer,
yeah, I know what
and
you're
you
talking
get knocked
about.
down to the lesser league below that, the lesser tier. Like, yeah, like, you got to think the money's not so good, like, everything's not so great, and plus, like, you don't want to get knocked down. There's, like, some pride there. You know what I mean? Like, you want to stay in that tier.
At that point, you'd have to cut like the NBA in half, the NFL in half, right? Like,
Yeah,
you'd
or
have to
at
have
least-
semi-decent numbers to actually have games for relegation. You know, I don't hate the idea. I just don't know how it legitimately works in, like,
Well, the
American
teams-
professional sports.
Yeah.
And the
you have
teams,
to-
and we've talked a lot about relegation. If there's any sport that it could possibly, feasibly work out here in America, I mean, there's other sports, but I'm talking about the 4 major professional sports, but none of those, it would be college football, just because of the Power Fives and all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
the
But it's still,
quantity.
basically just based on the quantity and nothing else. No real merit beyond that. And you would have to have, like, in the NFL, you couldn't just have podunk franchises sitting there, you know, playing against each other, kind of
Like
waiting.
the UFL teams waiting to get relegated.
Right,
They're never going to get.
And there's enough parity in the NFL that I don't think relegation's like as big of a deal for the NFL, but maybe Major League Baseball could be something. But triple, you know, that jump from Triple A
tanking isn't a problem in football in the NFL. Tanking's
Yeah.
more like in the NBA. That's the whole reason why they came up with the lottery was the NBA, not because of, like, NFL.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. So what? Cut out 8 teams, so that would leave you with 22.
Right, but like I said, like,
But then are you going to have NBA superstar type players on one of those 8 rosters? You know what I mean? Like, because they're going to be walling out there. Like,
Well,
I'm not going to sit here.
It's a contract, man. You know, again, it's like, I mean, like, there's got to be some point too where, like, they got to cut this nonsense out where just somebody's like a malcontent decides I don't want to be here no more, trade me, and then they get what they want. what the hell's the point of his contract at that point? If you're just going to do that, you're going to give them what they want.
Well, what the heck's the point of a contract if they all, like, at the drop of a hat, like, oh, well, we need to create a little bit more room here. Let's go ahead and finagle that contract how we need to.
Well, that's NFL. Like,
that's
part
all sports,
of it.
really. But
I mean, like,
we hear about it more in the NFL.
They can ask you in other sports, hey, would you like, can we restructure this and try to maybe get some more money? But that's on you, too, to be like, hey, I want to win, right? So, like, if you guys do this, we have a better opportunity of winning. So, like, and if you win, technically, a lot of times you get a opportunity to make more money when you win. Endorsements, such like that.
Yeah. 850-215-6290. Call-in question of the day. If your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? And Ohio Brad texted in and says, I think the Eagles are Taco Bell because you got to do a tush push after you go there.
Wow.
We heard I got a lot of Taco Bell ones. Max Ludd, the Chicago Cubs would be Taco Bell because they always hit. And then you get the fire emoji. Ohio Brad says that they're a place that sells turd sandwiches, talking about the Cleveland Browns. I would read some of the replies here, but we'll try to keep it short as we're getting ready to have Andrew Weiss on the line to talk some NHL playoffs. Christopher Multicante.
That was a great comment. I loved his rationale there.
Yeah. If the Miami Hurricanes football team were a fast food restaurant, they'd be Burger King. Here's why. Legacy and swagger. Like the Canes in their heyday, Burger King has a strong legacy. It was once a dominant force rivaling McDonald's, much like Miami once challenged the Blue Bloods of college football. They have a have-it-your-way attitude. The Hurricanes are known for their flash attitude and doing things their own way, especially during their 80s through the early aughts dominance. That aligns with Burger King's have-it-your-way brand, bold, confident, and unapologetically different. Ups and downs. Both have experienced inconsistent performance over the years, flashes of greatness followed by stretches of struggle and reinvention. Loyal but divided fan base like Burger King fans, Miami supporters are passionate and nostalgic for past glory, but sometimes frustrated with the current product.
Sounds like a chat GPT response.
Yes, maybe so.
Hey, I liked it, though. It was solid.
And that's all that matters. I don't care where you get your answers from, how you came up with them. They are answers nonetheless. Sam People says the Braves would be Chick-fil-A. The Braves are the unofficial team of the South, and CFA is the unofficial fast food restaurant of the South. Kyle Wright says Reds equals Roy Rogers. Great in the 70s, but basically hasn't existed since the 90s.
Man, I haven't seen a Roy Rogers since I was a kid.
I thought that was a drink, like cherry juice and Coke or something.
It's basically like
I think it is also.
It's like Arby's, man, like a roast beef kind of a place. Roy Rogers was.
I thought it was the boys' version of a Shirley Temple, or the Coke version rather of a Shirley Temple. Jeff Simpson, LSU Jeff. I'm going to get haters for this, but LSU is Panda Express. They have lots of options and flavors. LSU is good at many sports and different from a lot of other schools just like Panda. Not too expensive, yet well-liked by a loyal group of people. Of course, Tiger fans will say Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers because that is a Baton Rouge original. James Lehman says Dallas Cowboys equals Taco Bell. Straight fire, but you pay for it and end up crying alone on a toilet. Texas Longhorns. McDonald's. They are in it with every sport. Not always the best, but they make a lot of money. Facts. Alan Sandage says Niners would be McDonald's. It's a staple of the fast food brand, but the customer service is spotty when you really need to win. The ice cream machine is broke. And then Keith Fleming chiming in, the Falcons would be Taco Bell. It sounds like a good idea, but ultimately it makes you sick. Great reasoning, great responses. We'll keep it going throughout the rest of the show. 850-215-6290. You can call in or text if your team was a fast food restaurant. Which one would they be and why? Braves coming up tonight at 6 o'clock for a first pitch of 6:15. Until then, you'll be listening to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida playing the Big Bracket Challenge. Thank you so much to Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, UCB Hobby for making this happen. It was a lot of fun playing against other listeners and staff. Can't wait till next year. And go Ducks!
It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Lightly sprinkling and partly sunny the rest of the day with a gentle breeze around 8 miles per hour out of the south and temps near 79. Tonight we will have some clouds and be warm at 72. Mostly cloudy in the morning and then light rain tomorrow and a high 80. Sprinkles Thursday with a temp of 77. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at instantReplaySportsCards.com.
Panama City Beach, get ready for something sweet. Milkshake Factory's grand opening Saturday, May 10th from noon to 4. Milkshake Factory on Back Beach at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix, next to First Watch. Celebrate with buy one, get one free milkshakes, including our mouth-watering chocolate dip strawberry shake. The first 100 guests score a free Milkshake Factory t-shirt. Plus, sign up for a chance to win free milkshakes for a year. Handcrafted milkshakes, gourmet chocolate bar, family-friendly fun. It's all happening at Milkshake Factory on Back Beach. Locally owned.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Hometown Sports Talk from hometown hosts.
People are loving it.
We're live and local. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
Are you kidding me?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida, and we are the home of the great T-shirt giveaway from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Congratulations to Quentin Lemon. He won a 104.3 ESPN T-shirt by opening up the app and smashing the Enter Contest button. Right now, we're giving away a Mountain Dew T-shirt from Buffalo Rock on the app. Plus, Friday morning, the Coach Hale Show has your chance to win a 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida T-shirt. The ESPN Northwest Florida app is available at Apple Store, Google Play, or you can click the icons over there at ESPNPC.com. And while you're there, you might as well go click on the TV logo and get you a dose of Scorpion TV so you can keep up with all of what's going on in the sports world. They've got great movies, all the local stations. It is, and I don't mean just Panama City local. I'm saying you can watch the news from Anchorage, Alaska, if you want to, or wherever it is that you possibly moved here to Panama City from. And we thank you for moving here and listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes, along with Tyler Bishop and Caveman Rick. Calling question of the day: if your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? We'll go over to Andrew Weiss. We're going to be talking NHL playoffs with Andrew. Andrew, my friend, how's it going?
It's going good, guys. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing well. If the Lightning were a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why?
Let's see. I got to find one that gets my hopes up every time, and then after I have it, I'm disappointed.
Sounds like most of them.
That's honestly most of them.
Captain D's, baby.
I don't know. I'm gonna say Five Guys because I love Five Guys. Like, it's my favorite. If I could choose where I want to go, but it's a little too pricey and doesn't leave me feeling too good after I have it. So that'd be the Lightning after this playoff run. A little bit too much money for a team that left us disappointed.
Oh, there you go. Do you like the fact that Tampa Bay is going to be retaining John Cooper here for 2026?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to demean anyone with an opinion, but anyone who thought that he was going anywhere just needs to figure out their hockey opinions, because that's just not something that was ever going to happen or should ever happen. I mean, I understand the lack of playoff success the last 3 seasons is disappointing. I think 2 seasons ago, they were honestly a much better team than Toronto in that series and just didn't get any bounces. Last year, they were nowhere near deep enough. This year, I think they matched Florida in talent and ability, and they just didn't perform as they should have. I don't put any blame on the coaching staff for that one. I think that's just hockey sometimes. I think you're a bounce away from winning half those games. I think they need to make some tweaks and adjustments for sure, but if you get rid of Cooper, who you're hiring, that's going to be an improvement, really, right? So I don't think that's an issue there. I think it's mostly just the guys in the locker room that they're now, and the additions they'll make this summer will be what would drive them to the next level.
Yeah, I was whenever I got the notification from, I believe it was ESPN, the first one that I saw it from, saying the Lightning are retaining John Cooper. I was like, what was this even a question? I didn't even know that he was, in a conversation to possibly move, or for JBB to possibly move on there from John Cooper. But what's been going on with Kucherov? Really, the last 2 or 3 playoff runs, he, great during the regular season. We always talk about how, if he was Canadian, he'd be voted up there for the MVP each and every year. What's wrong with him in the playoffs?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think it's necessarily anything wrong with him in the playoffs in previous years. This year, I think there's definitely lesser play from him. I wonder how much of a factor that left wrist injury really was. Something that he said that he's been managing since February. And I just really do wonder if that made any kind of impact. But really, the biggest thing was the matchup. I mean, Florida is a very physical team. They're a very deep team. It's not like you can pick out any part of the lineup that you can pick on. And especially in that regard, they're a team that plays a very aggressive defensive zone structure. They do not sit back. They don't let you get any time or any space. And Kucherov's a guy that takes advantage of teams that really kind of like try to wait you out, right? Try to force you to make mistakes. He slows the game down. Florida speeds it up. And so there's times where he has to basically make quick plays, and he's very good at that. But this playoff run, I think, was not to his normal success. But this is a guy that I can't remember the exact number, but top 20 in NHL history in playoff points, one of the most dominant playoff performers of all time. I know the last 3 years have not been to their expectation. But even last year, as much as he struggled, he still put up over a point per game, on a team that was nowhere near as deep as it should have been. So I really do think part of it is just because this Panthers team is honestly very good defensively more often than not, last night notwithstanding against Toronto. But also the fact that, he's a guy that thrives when he's able to control the pace of play. And the last 2 playoff runs have been against teams that have not let him do that.
We're talking with Andrew Weiss right now. He's a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan, covers the NHL, used to be a former Tampa Bay Lightning ambassador. Is Vasilevsky, the big cat, is he past his prime? I mean, we're talking about a guy who was in the running for the Vezina Trophy.
Well, there's your answer, right? I mean, yes, struggled in Game 1, probably could have done a bit better in Game 5 for sure, but Games 2, 3, and 4, I mean, that's the guy that gave you a chance to win. I mean, Games 2 and 3, if you told me before the series, hey, going into Game 4, Vasilevsky has given up 1 or fewer goals in 2 of the 3 games, I'd imagine you're up 2-1, if not 3-0. And the fact that obviously, a stinker in Game 1, but 1 goal in Game 2, 1 goal in Game 3. You're supposed to win those games when your goalie does that. So, had some ups, had some downs. But I mean, even look at Bobrovsky last night against Toronto. He struggled a little bit there. Goaltending was a bit voodoo. You have good games, you have bad games. Even when they won the Cup, they had games where Vasilevsky wasn't perfect. But he's a guy that is a Vezina finalist for a reason. He was one of the top 2 goalies in the league this year, in my opinion. And honestly, you can make the case that he was the best goalie from January 1st on for the rest of the season. Obviously, Connor Hellebuyck's been phenomenal too. But even to that point, what's Winnipeg going to do? Get rid of Connor Hellebuyck because he's struggled in the playoffs a little bit? He's the only reason they made it. Not the only reason, but he's the primary reason, right? So goaltending, that's just what it is. The game changes come playoff time. Your defense needs to be on it. Your defense needs to tie up sticks in front of the net and keep things clean, and then you have to hope your goalie makes the saves they're supposed to make and steal a few that they're not supposed to. So Vasilevsky did that in some games this year, some games he didn't, but he's still the backbone of this Tampa team.
What series in the first round of the playoffs surprised you the most?
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of fun series. The Game 7 between Dallas and Colorado, as well as Winnipeg and Lewis, was really, really fun to watch. I'm surprised how short the Lightning series was, to be honest with you. I thought it would be at least a 6 to 7 game series. 5 games seems like too few for those 2 teams. But, I mean, honestly, if you go through the list, Carolina was expected to win, they won. Toronto expected to win, they won. Washington expected to win, they won. The East was pretty straightforward. Vegas, Edmonton, even, Winnipeg, those guys were all expected to win. Edmonton was probably the one that surprised me just in terms of their resilience. LA going up 2-0. They were very close to being up 3-0. They couldn't close it out, or at least 3-1 in Game 4. They're up very late in the game and couldn't close it out. So I'm surprised at Edmonton's resilience and how quickly they're able to turn around and win 4 straight against a good LA team. And that should be a fun Pacific final over there between Vegas and Edmonton. But I'd say, honestly, the Florida-Tampa series being as short as it was.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I was not expecting a 5-game series, and congratulations to those fellas down south for getting it done. Let's go ahead and pick this series for the second round of the NHL playoffs. We've got the Jets and the Stars, Winnipeg versus Dallas here. Who do you got in that game, in that series, and how many games will it take?
Give me Dallas in 6. Winnipeg showed some, again, not to use the term resilience over and over, but they showed some good resilience bouncing back against St. Louis in Game 7. That's a series that should have never gone to 7. I don't think Winnipeg has shown us that they can be trusted in the playoffs. They looked good in home games, looked terrible in road games, and even the good that they looked was not superstar. Dallas, meanwhile, they had their ups and downs, but that's a team that was missing, arguably their best offensive player, Jason Robertson, their best defenseman, and Miro Heiskanen. Those two should be back at some point, you'd like to think. If they get those players back, Dallas is going to romp over Winnipeg, and honestly, that would be my cup pick if those two players come back.
And then we'll move on to Vegas and the Golden Knights taking on those Edmonton Oilers. Who wins? How many games will it take?
Honestly, very surprised at the success defensively of William Karlsson with Jack Eichel. Kirill Kaprizov and the Wild were lighting up Vegas the first 2 games of the series, and then once Karlsson joined Eichel, the defense really locked in for Vegas. They have a tough task, though, against McDavid, Draisaitl, and company. It comes down to the goaltending. Is Aiden Hill going to be steady enough? Is Calvin Pickard the answer, the journeyman backup for Edmonton? If they can get some timely saves, Edmonton's going to romp through the series. If it's Pickard and Skinner swapping back and forth because they can't buy a stop, it's going to be Vegas pretty quickly. So depending on the goaltending, it could go either way. I'm going to say Edmonton just because you can't count out McDavid in these series, but they really do need goaltending, and I don't know if Calvin Pickard's the answer.
How many games do you think it'll take?
Give me 6. Give me 6 games. I don't want to say anything less than that, and I just don't think it's a 7-game series.
All right, then we'll move on to the eastern side of things here, where the Panthers already lost Game 1, but it was a valiant effort. I really hate this series because I don't want to see Toronto move on, but I don't want to see Florida move on. You can't really have you can't have a tie in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So who do you got winning this series, and how many games?
We got Florida in 7. I think these two beat up on each other for quite a bit. I know Toronto's already up 1-0, but you're supposed to defend home ice. They did already. The Lightning should take notes, and I think Florida is able to steal one on the road at some point and defend their own territory. 2 heavyweight teams, very deep teams, but I think the Panthers have a little bit more grit and grind and a little bit of dirt to them as well, as we saw with Sam Bennett yesterday. So, when you're a physical team and you straddle that fine line, you find ways to make the most out of things. So I think Florida's got this one in 7.
All right. Stolar's going to be out probably, too, with that concussion. So them going to the backup goaltender with Toronto might be a problem.
The Wall.
The Joseph Wall. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night, how Wall is like the
good goalie name.
Yeah, perfect name to be a goalie. Man. The Caps and the Canes is our final series. Caps and the Canes. Who wins the series, and how many games will it take?
Feels like the Hurricanes go to the Eastern Conference Finals every year and then do absolutely nothing there. And I'm really tired of just seeing whoever it is that's playing them just waltz their way to the final. As much fun as it was when it was the Lightning. Now it's just Florida beating the crap out of the Canes every year. So I would like to see a different team. I feel like the Canes have had their fair share of chances and they haven't done anything with it. So wouldn't mind seeing Washington and OV and that grizzled beard of his battle through and win that one in 7.
All right, there we go. 2 6-game series over there out west, and then 2 Game 7s over here on the eastern coast. Who has the easier path to the Stanley Cup right now, Andrew? And then we'll on the flip side of that, who has the toughest?
I think the toughest path can apply to either Florida or Toronto, just because I think whichever team wins that series is going to go to the Cup, but you have to play that opponent right now. So with that in mind, I think that's your toughest matchup, just because I really do think that the winner of that series is going to beat the Metro winner. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's how I feel about it. I think the easiest path, again, all terms relative, I really do think that it goes to the Stars. I think the Stars are a much better matchup against Winnipeg than they were for Colorado. So even though they struggled and had a battle against Colorado, I really do think that they're locked in. They're arguably the only team that can say they have a goaltending net neutral, if not advantage, versus Connor Hellebuyck and the Jets. And the way Hellebuyck's been playing the playoffs, obviously that can be a different story. But on paper alone, Ottinger and Hellebuyck is pretty much equal. And then the rest of the way, I mean, the Jets are banged up, the Stars are banged up, but the Jets are banged up and barely beat, the lowest team in their conference. The Stars are beat up and beat what was arguably the other best team in their conference. So I don't think it's going to be an easy series per se, but I think the Stars can dispatch Winnipeg. I really do think that they match up well against either Western Conference team. I think that they could go to the final.
And you're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Andrew Weiss on the line with us talking all things NHL playoffs. Which team came out of the first round with the most momentum, and can that momentum last?
Honestly, momentum in terms of emotion, I'm going to go to the Stars just because of that comeback and how crazy that series was. Getting Mikko Rantanen after struggling his first few playoff games to really show up significantly in the last 3 games of that series. If they can get him to stay that high, I mean, no one's stopping him. I think quiet momentum is actually Toronto. I mean, how many times, I know that they were up 3-0 and they lost the next 2, but they took care of business in Game 6. How many times have we seen a Toronto first round where it's like, you know what, they had a little bit of stress with losing Game 4 and Game 5, whatever, but that was probably the least talked about first round win for Toronto this millennium. So I think the fact that quiet confidence is huge for them, because you don't have the crazy news stories as you normally do of, Toronto's joking, Toronto's bad. They're just staving that off to where they can just play their game. I think that's a quiet momentum that's very underrated and definitely played a role in last night, looking confident, getting pucks on net, shooting pucks, not worrying about the score. And they were, made it a 1-goal game against Florida. And just having their first series lead in the second round since, I think it was 2004 maybe, or late 2000s, or early 2000s, I should say. So that's a very quiet thing that in a place like Toronto where the noise gets loud, quiet is a good thing.
So, Andrew, now that we got the first round down, early candidate for the Conn Smythe?
Oh man, I mean, there's some good choices. Ironically enough, if St. Louis had moved on, I was going to say, how about Cam Fowler in the postseason he's having? That was a great trade they made, and I know it didn't work out for them, but just wanted to give him his flowers there, just because he was phenomenal for them in the first round. But
Rantanen, maybe.
I was going to say, early choices probably on the west side. Mikko Rantanen was really, really good for the Stars. He really kind of saved that series there. Kyle Connor was great for Winnipeg. If they find a way to move on, that could be a guy to look for. And then I feel like William Nylander's had a good postseason for Toronto, and if Toronto finds a way to move on, I mean, they're going to have a Maple Leaf front and center every time they win a game. So I think that's a guy, especially after last night. He had a big game. You could definitely look for him as well. But a lot of these other teams, I mean, your Carolina, even Washington, Vegas, these are teams that are more the sum of parts than one specific player. So it's kind of harder to pick one guy out versus like a McDavid in Edmonton, a Connor in Winnipeg, Rantanen in Dallas. You could definitely look at some goalies, but I would probably lean those guys we just mentioned for those reasons.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Andrew, what is one bold prediction for round 2 that'll make you either look like a genius, or we could clip it and send it over there to Freezing Cold Takes?
I think the Oilers sweep Vegas. There's my hot take.
Ooh, I like that one.
That's the fact that, and again, that you want bold. That could go one way or go completely against it. I mean, that's the way to go, because again, it comes down to goaltending, and goaltending is voodoo. If Calvin Pickard just gets some saves for this Edmonton team, they are so good. I think they can beat Vegas, but I could look like an idiot if goaltending turns to dust against Vegas. So kind of just comes down to those guys. I don't know if I really trust them, but I think McDavid and company are so good offensively, and they've seemed to match up well against Vegas.
And then finally, which arena right now is delivering the best playoff atmosphere to this point?
Well, they're done, but I'd say Montreal was phenomenal. Getting playoff hockey back there, I mean, I don't want to give too much credit because, I'm a Lightning fan and I love bashing my fellow Atlantic teams, but, credit where it is due. The crowd was waiting for playoff hockey. It was a great crowd. It was good to have Ottawa back in there for similar reasons, but Montreal really, to me, took the cake. The Winnipeg Whiteout's always great. They won every home game, so that always plays a nice role. But I'd say, between Montreal and Winnipeg, I'd say those two crowds really, really energetic, really loud, really fun to be part of if you were there. That would be probably on my list for playoff games I would love to see in person is in a barn like that.
Oh, man. That would be a great time right there. Well, Andrew, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, and I hope that you'll join us next week to continue on our coverage of what's going on in the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me, and here's hoping my hot takes stay hot and don't look freezing cold.
Hey, there we go. Andrew Weiss, ladies and gentlemen, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Hey, Andrew played the game with us, right? We're looking for our our call-in question of the day. If your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? Text or call it in to 850-215-6290. We've just had a couple of texts fly through, so we'll read those when we get back. We'll play a little trivia and so much more. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Lightly sprinkling and partly sunny the rest of the day with a gentle breeze around 8 miles per hour out of the south and temps near 79. Tonight we will have some clouds and be warm at 72. Mostly cloudy in the morning and then light rain tomorrow and a high 80. Sprinkles Thursday with a temp of 77. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Big Memorial Day mattress sale going on now at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center and you can save up to $800 on select Stearns & Foster adjustable mattress sets. Stearns & Foster, made in the USA and available at
Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
That boot store reminds you Mother's Day is just around the corner. Make it a Western Mother's Day by shopping that boot store. You'll find a huge selection of Western wear for the youngest to the oldest mother, and at prices you can afford. Gift certificates are available too, so Mom can shop for herself. That boot store open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. That boot store next to Bill Bird Kia, 15th Street, Panama City. That boot store, where God is good all the time.
Big Memorial Day mattress sale going on now at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center and you can save up to $800 on select Stearns & Foster adjustable mattress sets. Stearns & Foster, made in the USA and available at
Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. When the sun sets on the Emerald Coast, the freaks come out and play.
Hi, I'm a recovering crackhead.
Hand me that shotgun.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Get on your knees!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yeah, the Afternoon Underdogs are kind of like Jimmy John's, right? We're freaky and fast, according to that.
There's worse things we can call.
No doubt about that. We're taking your calls and texts this afternoon at 850-215-6290. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Tyler Bishop and Caveman Rick. And we are live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. You can go to cbcconstruction.com. If you're looking for a job, fill out an application, drop your resume in there, all that good stuff. Or for your construction needs, give them a call at 850-747-3815. The Braves did end up blanking the Reds yesterday. Real quick, because we didn't get into this in the opening segment. Matt Olson ended up driving in 2 runs with an inside the park home run, which So our group chat was kind of blowing up yesterday. Caveman Rick and Adam Goff primarily were kind of going back and forth. So if you weren't watching this, as I wasn't, and I'm just seeing a whole bunch of messages fly through, so I'm not really entirely sure what was going on. Matt Olson hit a ball out to left field, and Tyler Callahan, who's, I think they just pulled him up, right?
Yeah, he's a young kid. I think he only had like 3 or 4 starts, I think Adam said.
Yeah, very, very young, and he's trying to make a play on the ball and ends up crashing into the wall and ends up breaking his arm. And according to Adam Goff, I mean, I didn't watch the video very many times because when people's bones break, I'm like, nah. I mean, I watched this. I was watching Facebook the other day, and this dude jumped from like the second story, or like from a dock that was way high onto a boat, and boom. Like tibia and the fibia just snapped. I'm just like, ugh. Takes me back to Tyrone Prothro, like against the Florida Gators when he broke his ankle catching, or broke his tibia and fibia, making a wonderful catch there. It was his left forearm that he ended up breaking, which is a tough part of the arm to break, and they didn't even stop play, which I guess that's not what you're supposed to do. I don't know. I see Austin Riley going around third base, and he's just kind of looking back, like shaking his head, and he looks back at Matt Olson like, should I stop here at third? And Matt Olson's like chugging along. Go. I hate to laugh. I'm not laughing, obviously, at Tyler Callahan. Just Matt Olson hustling around the bases like, bro, you could have walked. You literally could have walked. And then the training staff is taking forever to get out there. They're more worried about replaying it to see if if he made the catch, because it wasn't a catch, but did he make the catch? Was it a foul ball? And just a wild situation with Tito there. But I mean, that's a hard spot to be in. You're the manager. You're worried about what's going on with the whole team, and then you see this guy writhing in pain. It's like, all right, hey, maybe we should go check on him.
I seen it live, man, at the house, and I was just like, wow, dude. I mean, like, he hit that wall. Like, I'm talking like 20 miles an hour, like full speed ahead.
And he slid, so he was like going into.
Well, he was diving, I think, for the ball. I don't think he was even sliding. I think that's the thing. Like, if he was sliding a little bit more, and
it would have been his.
It would have slowed him down some more because of the friction. He wasn't really sliding. He was more diving, like in the air, and he was more like flat and like right into the wall, dude. And then like his arm isn't even the first thing that hits. It's the arm is like the second thing, like after his head and shoulder hit, and even like the whiplash to the arm hitting the wall. That's like what must have shattered the arm, you know.
But I wonder if that helped his dandruff at all with the head and shoulder.
I don't know. All I know is, like, man, like I said, I saw it live, and I was just like, I snapped my head back around, and I was like, holy, like, did I just see that? Oh my goodness, like, wow, dude.
Normally you don't see those type of plays in baseball. I mean, sometimes they run through the wall, right?
Then I'm waiting, right? Because, like, it was pretty bad. So I'm thinking, like, they're probably not going to show the replay, right?
Yeah.
Because this kid looks pretty, messed up. And I'm waiting. And then they showed it, and I was like, wow. Because I was wanting to see it again because, like, it happened so fast. And I was like, man, like, kind of seeing it out of the corner of my eye a little bit, And then I seen it again, and I was like, man, like, I'm kind of surprised they actually showed that again because it was pretty nasty.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers go out with the young man, Tyler Callahan there. Having surgery today, so hopefully that goes well. I mean, I think he'll be back this season, right? I mean, maybe not at the show level.
I don't know.
Maybe
man.
not at the show.
If you shatter your arm like that, you break it in multiple places, depending on how, like, they got to put rod
like 12 weeks
and pins and stuff like that in there. Yeah, I don't know, man. You got to see
hopefully he can.
Yeah, I have to see how the surgery works out. I mean, I used to do EMS, so I know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Definitely give us some time. It's early in the season.
You know how we are here, though. We're always positive, hoping for the best to happen. A.J. Smith-Shawver, though, bright night for him last night. He was looking for the first no-hitter in the majors this year. He's 22 years old, and he struck out 5, walked 4. Not a great sign there, but still, you struck out more than you ended up walking. Only gave up 1 hit, and that was in the 8th inning. 60 of his 99 pitches were for strikes. That was his 11th overall major league start, his 5th this year. And yeah, I mean, a 1-hitter. I can't complain about that at all.
I needed Ellie to get a hit apart.
And that was, speaking of that, Ellie De La Cruz going 0 for 4, ended his streak of reaching base safely in 23 consecutive games. Tonight it's going to be Andrew Abbott, the lefty, going for the Red Legs. He's 2-0 with an ERA of 3.32, and he'll be taking on our lefty, Chris Sale, who's 1-3, ERA of 4.84, is the second game of this 4-game series. We won't play the highlights for this one. I'm working we're working on playing the radio highlights each day, but it's about a 3-minute process, and we're running out of time here. So I do want to go to our trivia question, but our call-in question of the day: if your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? I've got the Braves as Waffle House, the Titans as KFC, because they get the order wrong. Their order accuracy is 81%. Pacers are Slim Chickens. They're up and coming. And then Alabama is Whataburger. Redbeard, rather. He says, the New York Giants are Burger King. Pretty boring most of the time, but every couple years they change something up that gives them good potential, then inevitably mess it up again. The New Jersey Devils are like White Castle. Just like the beginning of the season, the first dozen sliders are great. The more you eat, you realize it was a huge disappointment. That just reminds me of Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
If I'm going to make an analogy to White Castle, it'd have to be something where, like, there's one thing that's the same on the team all the time, because, like, how White Castle fries only have one size.
Yeah.
That's it. So, yeah, referring to that.
And then Tim Cook from Pittsburgh. Steeler Tim is what we're going to go by know him as from now on. His fast food is Taco Bell, and here's the reason. In the beginning, when the season starts, it looks good and leaves you satisfied. A little later, around mid-season, things get a little loose, and you feel weary. And then the end, near the playoffs, all you're left with is a big pile of disappointment. But since you're a fan, you know what's going to happen. But you keep on going back. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, Tim. Thanks for the comment as well, Redbeard. And we're taking your calls, 850-215-6290 for our call-in question of the day, or text in. And if you're driving and, when you get to a red light, you don't got to give me the why if you don't want to. Just give me your team and what the fast food restaurant that you think embodies your team. If your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? We're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Please like and share our Facebook feed, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, download that app. Just go to your Google Play Store or your Apple Store. Type in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. All right. Trivia question for your chance to win a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock and $25 gift card to not the, but that boot store. What mascot got into a scuffle with former Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda? Now, he was not ejected for this particular mascot. There's only been one mascot who's been ejected from a game, at least Major League Baseball, that I'm aware of after doing research today, and I believe it was also against the same manager, Tommy Lasorda, but it was the Expos mascot, Youppi, which I guess is French for Yippee.
I thought maybe, I don't know about Youppi, but, like, it is in Canada. They got the Michigan, they got two separate parts of the state. You got the Upper Peninsula. They call them Youpers, people who live up there. I didn't know if it had something to do with that or something.
According to the article that I read, it said that was French for yippee.
Got somebody calling in. I got a good idea who it is on the forefront of my mind, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the real question is, what is this guy doing to the mascots? People with that mascots just want to keep fighting this guy.
He hates mascots.
All right.
He hates mascots. And so for the trivia answer, this is where you knew kind of that Tommy Lasorda hated mascots. And then the Youppi, the Expos mascot, he knew he was intentionally getting under the skin of Tommy Lasorda. 850-215-6290 is the number to call. And
I met Tommy Lasorda once before.
Carla, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. What's going on?
Hey, it's Carl, not Carla.
I was wondering when I read it, I was like, well, the only Carla I know is Adam
I was having
Goss.
trouble hearing on the phone.
Okay, all right. Well, Carl, I know who we're talking to here. We got Carl on the line with us. What mascot got into a scuffle with former Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda?
That would be the good old Philadelphia Phillies mascot.
Yes, sir. Do you know the name of the Phillies mascot just because he's so famous?
Oh, man, you would ask me that right now. Oh, the Fanatic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was going to give it to you either way because you got it right. It is the Phillies mascot, but it's the Philly Fanatic there. Caveman Rick actually has a hat on with the logo of the Fanatic. And, Carl, you just won a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock and $25 to not the, but that boot store. Hey, who's your favorite team overall out of all your teams?
The Dallas Cowboys, but they've been disappointing me the last, 30 years.
So what fast food restaurant has been disappointing you the last 30 years?
Oh, let's see.
No holds barred.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Man.
you know, I like Mexican food. You know, it's good to go there. Then sometimes they mess up your orders, and then of course the usual with Mexican food, what it does to you later on.
Hey, you know, that's just a clean out. It's just like having a lot of, a lot of antioxidants there. Carl, thanks so much for the call, my friend, and you know where to come to pick up your prize, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, good to hear from you. You guys are listening here to ESPN Northwest Florida. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're getting set for hour number 2, where we're going to dive into some takes here on a beautiful Tuesday, and it's going to be Tyler talking a lot about college football. We'll be right back here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Tonight, the Atlanta Braves continue their homestand at Truist Park.
Riley charges one up, soaring high into the heavens and disappearing into the seats.
It's the Braves versus the Cincinnati Reds. First pitch, 6:15. Listen to live play-by-play and a rich audio experience on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Lightly sprinkling and partly sunny the rest of the day with a gentle breeze around 8 miles per hour out of the south and temps near 79. Tonight we will have some clouds and be warm at 72. Mostly cloudy in the morning and then light rain tomorrow and a high 80. Sprinkles Thursday with a temp of 77. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you hungry for authentic Mexican cuisine? Then come to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're going to love their lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive across from the Navy base.
And 10908 Front Beach Road.
That boot store reminds you Mother's Day is just around the corner. Make it a Western Mother's Day by shopping that boot store. You'll find a huge selection of Western wear for the youngest to the oldest mother, and at prices you can afford. Gift certificates are available too, so mom can shop for herself. That boot store open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. That boot store next to Bill Berg Kia, 15th Street, Panama City. That boot store, where God is good all the time.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WFLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Florida. You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. Hometown sports talk from hometown hosts.
People are loving it.
We're live and local. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
Are you kidding me?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Live and local from the CBC Construction Studios. Y'all head on over to cbcconstruction.com. If you're looking for a job, just go to their website and fill out an application. Drop your resume there. You can also give them a call for all your construction needs at 850-747-3815. The Guardians and the Nationals yesterday were postponed. They're playing the first game of their doubleheader right now, and it is a track meet, no doubt. The Nationals jumped out to an early lead, and then the Indians bounced back. They took the lead. They were up 2 runs going into the inning that they're in right now. I believe they're in the 7th. It was like 8-6, and now the score is 10-8. So it is back and forth like they're playing Pong, which is an analogy that James used yesterday for, I forget what it was that he used it, but man, that was pretty hilarious. 10-8 in the bottom of the 7th. Again, the Atlanta Braves will be right here this evening, starting after the Afternoon Underdogs. It's going to be Andrew Abbott going for the Reds. He's 2-0, ERA 3.32. Chris Sale going for the Braves. Hopefully he can get get things going right. Adam Goff, the birthday boy, texted in. He says, Red said 6 to 8 weeks of no movement for Tyler Callahan, which that makes sense. Then, hey, 6 to 8 weeks after that, right? So that could be about 12 to 16 weeks. I think he could be back.
Dr. Hayes.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as, like I said, he was just broke and he didn't have to put no screws, rod, anything like that in there.
Well, they had to,
it was looking pretty nasty. That's what I was saying. So, I mean, not knowing how the surgery went or what they were doing.
He also goes on to say that the Reds are Jimmy John's. They pretend to be Subway or Firehouse, but they just aren't.
I mean, I
Isn't
don't know.
Subway
I don't know
kind of
that's
like
an insult necessarily.
But
for me
I mean, I love Firehouse personally. I love Firehouse, and I'm more of a cold sub guy than I am a warm sub guy. But I mean, Subway now, like the price just doesn't add up to me. It's like
the Subway heyday was the $5 foot long.
Yeah,
ever since
bro.
then,
Ever since then,
and the fact that they lied though for like a long time, supposed to be foot longs, they were like 11 inches and stuff, and they were robbing people for like a long time.
Yeah,
come on, man.
We get robbed so many different types of ways.
Shrinkflation, yo.
Shrinkflation. I'm David Hayes along with Tyler Bishop and Caveman Rick. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We are the home for the Coach James Hale Show in the morning. Listen weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Coach James Hale and the gang. It's a great show, and they bring you all kind of great local coaches and a lot of talk on college sports, specifically on college football. Tyler? Again, calling question of the day is, if your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? You can text or call in 850-215-6290. Tyler Bishop is our college football prognosticator. He's a big Georgia Bulldog fan, if you're not watching along with us on Facebook. And Georgia just landed the #1 high school quarterback recruit over Oregon yesterday. That is Jared Curtis. Is this a sign to you? Well, first tell us a little bit about Jared Curtis and what you're expecting from him. Basically, it's Gunnar Stockton's team right now, but he's kind of the QB in waiting, right?
Yeah, so he was committed to Georgia for a while. The big quarterback of 2026 was Julian Lewis, who actually ended up reclassifying to 2025. He was Georgia's guy even before that happened.
And then he ended up
in Colorado.
Yeah.
He was at USC committed to USC for a while. So this is a guy who's considered to be the quarterback recruit between the next two cycles, 26, 27. I follow high school recruiting probably more than any grown man should. It's just super interesting to me because you get to kind of watch their whole career take place, and as they get drafted, it's a really cool full circle moment there. But the biggest downside with this guy is he plays in a very small, private. He goes to a Christian school in Nashville, so his competition he's playing against is not the best. So you kind of wonder, is he just one of those guys that's super athletic and kind of getting away with some stuff there? But this is a guy that Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo, like I said, prioritized for the last 2.5 years. Dan Lanning in Oregon obviously had some good things to sell to him, but I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing is Athens is just a lot closer to Nashville. His family was going to be able to come see him play a lot more between going to games in Athens, but not only that, but games in the South in general, right? You're playing in Vanderbilt, you're playing against Tennessee. Those games are a lot easier to get to than games in Wisconsin and California and Washington. And I think at the end of the day, that proximity to home helped out, and hopefully, Georgia's had a lot of high-profile quarterbacks that haven't panned out over the last, even in the Kirby Smart era. I mean, our best quarterback has been Stetson Bennett, who was a former walk-on.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully he can break that trend. But he's a guy that's got all the tools that you can hope for as a high school kid coming out. We'll see how it goes.
All right. So with them, it was over Oregon, right? Which Oregon, they've got all of that Phil Knight, Nike money over there. Is this a sign to you that NIL is leveling out some?
I think this is the first big domino to fall since we've seen the clearinghouse the regulations they're trying to put through with revenue sharing. Each football team's going to have, I believe it's $15.5-ish million to revenue share with their college football team.
Right. And it should be like the cap, right? If you're going over 50, I mean,
basically
Texas is like, 3 times that
Texas
is about our limit.
Allegedly going to be 35 to 40 million this year. But what's good news is allegedly, again, I'm saying all this allegedly because I have no proof it's going to happen, but all other NIL deals that are not revenue sharing are going to be vetted by a third-party company to see if they're fair market value. So I think you're going to see, so I think this may be kind of a sign that those are going to be a real thing because Phil Knight has promised as much money as they wanted to win a national championship in his lifetime. If they wanted to offer this guy double, I mean, I'm not saying Georgia's a poor school, but we don't have Nike money.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Nike money.
Nike
that
jerseys,
department's got Nike. But no athletic or no Georgia contributor is giving, Phil Knight money. So I think this is kind of a sign that maybe those last-minute huge offers and the pay-for-play system may not be as prevalent as we saw going forward. Because, again, this is a guy, one of the top players in the country, top quarterback recruit in the country. And, again, that is considered for the 26 and 27 years. So if you're going to go all in on a guy, this would be the kind of guy you would want to go in on. And maybe that's just me, portraying a little bit out. But I think, we always expect Texas or Texas A&M or Oregon or, those are going to kind of the three schools that really seem to have, I don't want to say unlimited money, but a lot more money than just about any school. SMU to an extent. Obviously, they're not as big of a brand, but they've got the money. But so when the fact that you're not seeing some of these teams winning all these battles kind of makes you believe that maybe it's reverting back to the mean. Because we saw that with the Jimbo Texas A&M class where they got $30 million or whatever it was for that class. He won nothing with it, got fired. Texas has done well, but not above and beyond what other schools have done. So I think we're hopefully kind of seeing the water on the NIL stuff level out here, and hopefully the revenue sharing does what it's supposed to do, and we stop seeing the pay for play in more of a legitimate process.
And it did work out for Ohio State, but it's not like they were just, it was more the transfer portal for them.
And I don't think they were going out doubling people's money to come, like Quinshon Judkins, I don't think he was given double the money, maybe significantly more, but I don't think, and Will Howard didn't go there for the money. I mean, the money didn't hurt, but he didn't have a spot at K-State. He wanted a chance to win a title, did that, got drafted, great for him. Caleb Downs left Bama, went there. I think that was more of Saban leaving more so than Caleb Downs chasing a bag necessarily. And so like that, people focus on some of those transfers, but I think it was like 80% of their starters were recruited and signed by Ohio State, which granted it takes NIL money to sign high school kids now.
Right.
But they weren't out doing the Lane Kiffin portal shopping or the Mike Norvell portal shopping that we've seen other teams do, and they won a title for it. And more power to them, I guess.
Well, I mean, didn't Florida State spend a nice little chunk of change last year, too, I believe?
I think they spent a decent amount, but I think their bigger issue, and has been a consistent issue under Mike Norvell, is the amount of kids they've had to take from the portal every single year. At a certain point, you don't want 20 portal kids because you're not building a foundation, you're not building a culture. That way you're bringing in, for lack of a better word, mercenaries.
Yeah.
And we kind of saw what happened with that in the Orange Bowl. We kind of saw what happened with that last year when they didn't have a quarterback. And I'm not saying Florida State's alone in this, and I'm not trying to bash on Florida State, but I don't think a coach in his 4th, 5th, 6th year should be having to take 20-ish portal guys. I mean, I think the sweet spot's maybe 10. Plus or minus 1 or 2 from there. But I think if you're having to take 18, 20, 22 portal guys, like what we've seen Dion do a couple years in a row, what we've seen Lane Kiffin do at times, and he hasn't won really anything with it. Mike Norvell hasn't really won anything with it. I don't think you want to see those numbers as a fan. You shouldn't be. And I know Florida State was less than successful last year, so you're hoping for a little bit of roster turnover. But if your coach is in his 5th, 6th year and he has to have that much roster turnover, what happened in the 3, 4, 5 years before that?
Yeah, Florida State was around 12 million, so that's
not bad. I mean, I don't know where that ranks nationwide, but it's not an insignificant number by any means.
So you had Texas. This is giving me 2025 for Texas. They're reportedly going to be spending, as you said, 35 to 40, including 15 million from the revenue sharing pool, and then 20 of that being in NIL. Ohio State last year was around $20 million for their NIL roster. Oregon, along with Texas and other top programs, they obviously spent a lot of money. 247sports.com says programs like Miami, Notre Dame, and Texas Tech are also near the top there without actually having a.
That's probably, these are all fictional numbers, but nobody has really any legit numbers.
Well, that's the other thing that kind of stinks about the whole situation. Not that I care about who's getting paid what or whatever, but it's also one of those things there. At some point,
I just want to see the budgets. Like, I don't care who's getting what, but like, show me that Ohio State paid $33 million, or whatever the number is, just out of curiosity. I think a little bit of transparency would go a long way with some of that stuff too.
Well, we'll have to see how it moves on in the future. I mean, we do got, Trump and Trump's, merging rivalries right now with Nick Saban and Tommy Tuberville. Like, that was a wild story to see. I don't think that anything's going to be able to necessarily come from that, but maybe it could spearhead some movement to try to get some regulation around the NIL side of things. And then let's get transfer portal back to just, how do you feel? One date or 2 dates for the portal to be open?
I think 1 date.
After the season is over?
Yeah,
do you wait till after spring practice? Or do you just have a really long transfer portal window that runs from once the championship game is over and it closes after the last spring game?
I think we would be better off having a special maybe acceptance for because the part is they do have to be students also, right? Like as long as we're keeping up this facade that they're student athletes, we do have. I mean, that's what it is. We do have to kind of go like.
Hey, look at Brock Bowers. He went back to Georgia.
And those are the guys you love to see do that kind of stuff, right? But like we still have to kind of operate around the academic calendar. So as long as I would much rather see, I'd be okay with 2 portal windows, one after the season, one after the spring. But as long as the people in the playoff are going to have a legitimate chance to transfer after the playoff, you know what I'm saying? Like you get done in March, that you can get a special waiver to enroll late, which I don't see why they can't do for 5 or 6 guys really is all it's going to be per school tops. But the fact like Penn State, their backup quarterback had to transfer during the playoffs so he could have a chance at spring ball this coming year. Like, it's hard to blame the guy because he's looking out for his best interest. But it's awful for everybody else involved. Right. So I would much rather see, because I have no problem with a guy moving on after the season if he's not happy, whatever. And then you got a guy that goes through the spring. Maybe the team's definitely not for him. Maybe he knows he's not going to start. Maybe I would be okay with 2 portal windows as long as we were having some more common sense about the team still in the playoff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sharon Moore is going to be getting a 2-game suspension. Now, this is not solidified on Michigan's behalf. This isn't solidified on the NCAA's behalf. This was just something that ESPN reported because this is in the talks. This is basically what Michigan has submitted to the NCAA as to what they would like to do with Sharon Moore, which is suspend him for 2 games. Their first 4 games are against New Mexico at the house. Then they've got Oklahoma on the road. Then they're at the house against Central Michigan, and then on the road at Nebraska. He's expected to coach the first 2 games, which the second game against Oklahoma. Why does he want to coach against Oklahoma? Because that's where he went to school. So, Tyler, give us your thoughts on this. Prognosticate a little bit with me.
It's kind of a joke. I mean,
kind of.
It's a
I think
joke,
this is
really.
like a dad joke.
Like, this is like asking your kid, like, what do you want to get punished for? And, letting them choose.
Like, what is the NCAA proving? Okay, hey, you're going to be suspended for 2 games. Like, honestly, the only way it could have been worse if they're like, we're going to suspend him for week 1 and week 3 against New Mexico and Central Michigan. But like, we're going to let him coach the first 2, but then we're going to suspend him and we're going to meet at this. Like, really? Suspend him or don't. I really don't care at this point. It's already done with. Are we taking away their national championship? No. So what is suspending him for 2 games really going to do? Nobody cares.
And it's for deleted text messages, which, Sharon Moore says, Coach Moore says that he's excited for when those text messages get released. How truthful is he being about that? It's just, it's a weird situation. It's gone on so long. My thing is there's, one of my biggest things, he broke the rules. So that is what it is, right? You got to deal with what you got to deal with. But on top of that, it's, good and daggone well that this is not a lone Michigan thing.
No.
That's what's so wild to me is, all right, you got them, and then what do? They win the national championship, and it wasn't just Michigan doing it. So all of these other bigger schools that are complaining about it, primarily the team who just won the most recent national championship, shut up, bro, before you start getting investigated for this stuff.
I mean, a 2-game suspension is kind of a nothing punishment, in my opinion, really.
Especially
anyway.
when you get to pick the games.
But yeah, the fact that you're letting, what are you really proving? Like, what is it really considered a punishment? Like, I know at Nebraska could be a tough game for him. Maybe with Rule year 2 of Dylan Raiola, maybe that's a tougher game than it would have been 2, 3, 4 years ago. But when you're letting them pick and choose which games you're going to be suspended, like imagine Kirby Smart. Okay, I'm suspending this player for reckless driving, but I'm letting him pick the 2 games. What would be the outrage for that? You know what I'm saying? Nobody would want that. That's not even a punishment. Well, it's the same point here. It's the same point here. But I think it's a joke. Like, at this point, if we're not going to take away their title, let's move on.
And
who cares?
Do you think that their title should be removed?
Probably not. I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't think they're going to.
They beat Alabama all the way
to that. At a certain point, like, we're just wasting everybody. I mean, even if they take it away, okay, we all saw it happen.
Right.
Everybody's still going to remember them as the national champions.
And what do you do? Give it to who did they?
Washington.
Washington.
You're not going to give it to Washington.
Yeah.
So it's like what?
Or unless Washington wants to go with Scott Frost on them,
It'll be like Reggie Bush. It'll just be like nobody got it that year. Just be vacated.
And then they gave it back to him anyway.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not like everybody forgot that Reggie Bush won the Heisman that year. Everybody still remembered it. Everybody recognized it. Besides, it just wasn't official.
For years I was like, I mean, this is kind of stupid. We're starting to pay, actually pay these kids, and it's legal, and Like, we took away it's not like what happened off the field.
Changed how good he was.
It ends up turning into a joke, too, because remember, like, the Heisman House commercials, and then they had Reggie Bush, like, oh, hey, Reggie's here, you know? Like,
it was just great advertisement. It's just silly at this point. Let's just all move on. We got better things to do.
Hey, we will move on. Who's in a better position? There's been a lot of talk about Bill Belichick over there at North Carolina. Dan Mullen left his job at ESPN to take over UNLV. They could make some moves. Who knows? But my question to you, who's in a better position, Tyler? Is it Dan Mullen over there for the Running Rebels at UNLV, or is it Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson, the co-coach, his girlfriend, at North Carolina?
Man, I really kind of love this question, and it's great because I think it may be Dan Mullen.
Yeah, that's kind of why
I mean, obviously, North Carolina is going to have more pull with the committee. If they were to go 10-2, they're much more likely to make the playoff than Dan Mullen at UNLV. But I mean, Dan Mullen at UNLV needs, 2 or 3 big-time, not even big-time players, but better than, what are they, Mountain West players,
right,
to probably run that conference and potentially be this year's Boise State. Like, I mean, Boise State had Ashton Genty, and I don't know if most of the people listening, I don't even know if I could name 2 or 3 other players off that roster, because Ashton Genty, they kind of just rode him to, granted, Ashton Genty was a phenomenal player, top 10 pick, Heisman finalist. But you can't do that as well at a North Carolina when you're playing Power 5 competition every week.
Right.
Or Power 4, I guess. So, like, honestly, like Dan Mullen at UNLV, if you can get 1 or 2 guys like that.
You're
like,
not going to have a hard time getting people at Vegas either.
No, Vegas is
People are going to want to come play in
Dan
Vegas.
Mullen has proven he can put guys in the league. Time at Florida, Dak Prescott at Mississippi State. Even his second stint at Florida as the head coach.
We know he doesn't like to recruit, right?
Oh, he does not.
Vegas can recruit itself. It's Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying? So this might be almost perfect for this guy.
It's awesome. Like, I really am interested to see how he does. Like, he had a fun system at one point. Like, it's probably kind of more average Joe at this point. I don't think it's quite as innovative as it would have been considered back in the Tebow League days when he was running with Urban Meyer. But, I mean, I would feel better. I mean, Dan Mullen's probably got a better chance of winning his conference and making the playoff than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's got a better at-large chance, but UNLV's probably got a better chance of winning their conference.
I think that's why I choose Dan Mullen as well, because Dan Mullen can go 7-5 over there at UNLV, and it's like,
nobody cares, really.
Yeah, I mean, but almost like us on the outside is like, you made a bowl game.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next year you go 8-4 or whatever. 2 years of 8-4 at North Carolina with the expectation. Any other coach 8-4 at North Carolina is like, all right.
Yeah.
You know, like we're headed in the right direction. I think you get 2 years of Bill Belichick at 8-4. Bill Belichick's probably done with college football at that point in time. Not only that, and then North Carolina's probably looking like, dude, we expected more out of this, which I don't know how much you can really expect out of an older fella getting into a younger game, which now the parallels of how the NFL, college football,
into a younger game
in more ways than one.
Many different ways.
Well, see, maybe that's what it is.
That's why he wants to stay. You know, he breaks up with her sororities.
I got two theories on that. So was it he got with this girl and she made him feel young or whatever? He's like, all right, I'm gonna get into the college game now, Or was it her? She was like, these NFL guys, they don't like you. Like, let's get over to the NFL or to college football, and so then I could go party with this.
I mean, I honestly think it kind of started off as like a bluff to make an NFL team make a move, and then it kind of got too far into it. He's like, well, I might as well just do this at this point. I'll give it a shot. And plus, he's trying to help set his son up a little bit. But UNLV's won 19 games the last 2 years, so it's not like Dan Mullen stepped.
The last 2 years,
they're 9 wins and 10 wins the last 2 years.
They have been on the uptick, haven't they?
And their head coach just went to Purdue, Barry Odom.
They had that one quarterback, what's the name? Saluk or something? No.
He was the one that opted out like week 2.
Saluka, yeah.
And they still ended up winning 10 games. I think they had a chance to win their conference. It's not like UNLV's in a bad spot either.
Right.
It's an interesting situation.
So take them to new heights. But even then, still, when we're saying UNLV and you say 7-5, I don't think that it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, nobody's going to be freaking out about that.
Yeah. Last one that we got here for you, Mr. College Football Prognosticator. Who will be the most overrated and the most underrated team in the SEC this year?
I think based on the preseason, I'm going with Texas as my most overrated.
That's where I'm at, too.
And I know it's just an easy target because they are probably I think they were tied for first for national championship odds. But, Arch Manning is fairly unproven. He's got the pedigree. But, the thing is Arch Manning the type of quarterback like a Lamar Jackson that would be able to make up for other people's, like if the talent around him isn't as good or isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, is he going to be able to make up for that athletically?
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, that wasn't the kind of quarterback Peyton or Eli were, and I know it's not fair to compare them, but that's just what happens when you have the last name Manning.
Yeah, genetics are genetics.
Peyton Manning's not running around scrambling for his life. He's not pulling a Patrick Mahomes. Can Arch Manning make
He will fake a little handoff and hit a little bootleg to the left and run in against them Dallas Cowboys.
Right? And Texas is losing a ton off that defense, which carried them for most of the season.
Right.
I mean, granted, Texas is talented. Texas has money. Sark's been a pretty good coach, but I think people expected them to. I mean, I think it was Peter Burns from the SEC Network said that they were the alpha dog of the SEC going into this year, and I'm not buying that. They have a fairly easy schedule. They got to come to Athens, but outside of that, they miss Bama, they miss LSU, they miss Tennessee, they miss Ole Miss. Maybe I said, but I mean, they get Oklahoma, Georgia, and Florida are probably their top 3 SEC teams. Like, which Georgia should be pretty good, but Florida, what do we expect of them? Oklahoma, what do we really? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It gets very easy for them very quick. I think at Mississippi State, Vandy, and Auburn, maybe. I mean, you know, so like they're not exactly playing the cream of the crop SEC teams. So I think they've got a chance to still. They'll probably do well because of their schedule, but I think they're going to be the most overrated team by far.
Who would you say? I'm agreeing with that. I mean, there's really no one unless they put Alabama top 5 going into the season. Yeah. I would say Alabama. Like Alabama needs to be in that 15 to 17 area. Will they rank them higher than that? Probably.
Be hard not to, just based off the logo as much as anything.
Yeah,
really.
100% agree there. But if they're even top 7's like, what we don't even really know who the quarterback is going to be. And then I think I would make the argument for LSU, being that they do have a returning quarterback, that they could be overrated. Now, on the flip side of that, the most underrated team in the SEC and who that will be, I've got a question to come up with my answer. Who would you have rated higher, South Carolina or Florida?
Ooh, I kind of like that question.
Well, no, because we're on the question.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I kind of like...
Your question is the answer to this question for me.
Man, I think it'd probably have to be South Carolina should be rated higher.
Okay.
Because I think we have a better idea of what Lenore Sellers can do. He doesn't have the injury concern that DJ, because I think that's the hype for both teams, right? It's the quarterbacks,
right?
And I think we feel better about what Lenore Sellers has done to this point than DJ Lagway, and I think at this point, DJ Lagway could prove me wrong and be the best quarterback that we've seen since Cam Newton or somebody like that, Joe Burrow. But I think right now what we know, I think you have to put South Carolina ahead.
All right. So with that being said, then I will make Florida my more underrated team, then my most underrated team in the SEC, because I think it's a coin flip for me between Florida and South Carolina. I believe that we'll see them play this year. If not, it is what it is. That would be a fun matchup, Lenore Sellers versus DJ Lagway. But yeah, I think Billy Napier, to some extent, again, is coaching for his job. To some extent, I think he quieted a lot of rumors last year. But I'm going to go with Florida being the most. We don't talk a lot of good things about the Florida Gators here. So for Cousin Joey, if you're out there listening, I'll say the Gators are going to be the most underrated team in the SEC for 2025.
I think that's fair. I think I saw Andy Staples over at 1on3 Sports put out his post-spring top 25, and I think he had Florida ranked like number 9 or something crazy like that. Looking at a website for the degenerates to place wagers on things, kind of getting an idea of who I wanted to pick for this. Like, I kind of like Auburn. They are below South Carolina, Florida, tied with Oklahoma for odds to win the SEC at 28-1 odds. Which, again, I don't know if I love it, but I think getting Georgia on the Plains, they get Bama on the Plains. Like, they're going to be 2 of their toughest, probably 3 or 4 games. Getting those at home, where we've seen weird stuff happen at Jordan-Hare.
Right.
Those games are much more winnable than if we were talking on the road in Tuscaloosa, on the road. They play Baylor, Ball State, and South Alabama out of conference. I mean, looking at their schedule outside of those 2 big games against Auburn or Bama and Georgia, their next toughest game is A&M or Oklahoma. They don't play Texas. They don't play Florida. They don't play LSU. They don't play South Carolina. Like a lot of these teams that we're
favorable.
Like, I mean, it's a very favorable schedule.
Do they have Vandy though?
They do have Vandy,
and it's in Jordan-Hare, isn't it?
No, it's in Nashville.
Oh, okay,
they got to walk.
You're going down. They got
to walk into Diego Pavia's house and see if they can walk away the win. But I mean, like, they're playing Kentucky, Vandy, Arkansas, Missouri, like A&M and Oklahoma, both on the road back to back. That'll probably be a tough 2-game stretch. But I mean, it's not a schedule that sets up too badly, and then you get a chance to get you get to Atlanta, and anything can happen at that point. But I like where they're at from a betting standpoint. I love where their odds are at based on where their schedule sets up, the talent they'll have, And Hugh Freeze has proven he can win some games that people don't expect. He's also proven he can lose some games people don't expect him to. But in a win or bust year for Hugh Freeze, when the schedule sets up fairly well, I think they could be a fun team to watch.
All right, man. Well, that's going to wrap it up here for Tyler Bishop and his college football prognostication. We're going to dive into a little fun segment coming up next. It's going to be called Mascot Mayhem, and we're going to go through some examples when we get back. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. Keep it locked in and ride along with us.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Partly cloudy tonight with a wind around 6 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and a low of 70. Tomorrow morning, look for very light showers and mostly clouds with a temperature near 78. The afternoon and evening, a high around 81 and a mixture of very light rain and mostly clouds. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a fifth-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design, build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
But I wonder how much time he really kind of put into the playbook.
Where it's halftime all the time.
He may be the cream of this crop of quarterbacks.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
But they got to do something here, but otherwise this is just going to be another lost season for them.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're back in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Tyler Bishop and Caveman Rick. We're live, we're local from the CBC Construction Studios, and you can go to cbcconstruction.com. They're looking for a few good men. You can also call them for all your construction needs at 850-747-3815. Call-in question of the day: if your team was a fast food restaurant, which one would they be and why? A couple of other headlines that we didn't dive into before we dive into the Mascot Mayhem. Knicks came back last night. They were down 20 points. They take a 6-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then Boston battles back. They get it to overtime, and the Knicks ended up winning 108-105. The Celtics took the most amount of threes that have ever been taken in an NBA playoff game. Take a guess. Take a wild gander, Tyler, on how many threes the Celtics took last night. A large amount.
Large amount?
Largest.
Ooh. 89.
Okay, that's... Whew,
is that large?
That's large enough, brother. Right. They were 15 of 60 from 60
I didn't want to undershoot when you said large, so I was like,
which I believe the Knicks ended up making more three-pointers than the Celtics, and they only took like 37. And the Celtics out-rebounded the Knicks. I mean, they really and truthfully outplayed them until the third quarter. And it's like, my thing is, when you got a 20-point lead, why are you sitting there still just shooting the tray? Why are you doing that? Like, get into the paint, take some time off the clock,
it's like
and score.
It's like run the football.
Yeah.
Slow the clock down, slow the pace of the game down, man.
Run the dang ball. So anyways, the Knicks have now stolen one from Boston, and just in wild fashion. They're up 1-0 in the series.
To steal a line from Giannis, playing with their food, right?
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Well, the Pacers, I guess, did play with the Bucks as food for one game in the previous series. The Nuggets, they were also down double digits. I think the largest they were down was maybe 14 points, might have been 12, somewhere around there. The Thunder were up like 11 points. It was 5-6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I was like, man, I'm going to bed. Like, this game, the Nuggets would climb back, and the Nuggets would climb back into the game, and the Thunder would just, boom, just rebuild that lead. So I was like, yeah, it feels like it's going to be more of the same. I wake up, check the scores, Nuggets. Aaron Gordon, second game winner of the playoffs. I'm like, my goodness gracious. Aaron Gordon has been playing lights out. I mean, I would say in this new era of dunk champions, he's probably the best basketball player overall of the dunk champions, right? I mean, Mac McClung's won the last 3. He's a G Leaguer. You know what I mean? So the Nuggets ended up winning last night. Aaron Gordon hits a 3 to win 121-119. Also some questionable. Now, the Thunder all year long, if they're up 3, they foul late in the game. If they're up 3, they foul. That sends them to the line. Sends the other team to the line, right? And they can't get the full 3 points. Well, last night it kind of bit them in the tail. So we'll see if that philosophy remains or if they will call an audible at some point in times. But yeah, Nuggets win 121-119. We've had each game in the second round, or each series rather, has played one game outside of the Warriors and the Timberwolves, and the road teams are 3-0 to start the second round. Does that continue tonight, Caveman Rick? Do the Warriors get game 1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves this evening?
That's a good possibility. I mean, they got the pedigree, right? They've been there more recently. They're used to, playing in these situations, so I can see that happening. I heard a stat, too. If they do win, it'd be the first time since 1972 or something that all 4 of the road teams in the second round come out and won. So it's been a while. So it's due, too, something like this to happen. So because of this, I think if I was going to lay some coin down, I would probably say on put it on Golden State.
Hey, there you go. Also, the Maple Leafs in the NHL playoffs last night took game 1. They were at the house versus the Panthers, the Florida Panthers, and the Panthers gave them everything that they wanted to come back in that game and got really close, but the Maple Leafs held on to win 5-4. Any takeaways from that game?
Yeah, just crazy that the Leafs were able to hold on to the win with Stolarz, their starting goaltender, Anthony Stolarz, going down with he got elbowed in the head. I guess he had really bad concussion type symptoms and vomiting on the bench before he left. He had to go to the hospital. So Wall came in, and I mean, he lived up to his name, right?
Right.
I mean, he did let a few goals in, but I mean, he got the win, right? So I guess it's going to come down to whether or not Wall can actually be that foundation, that real sturdy back end kind of a guy. If he can play like Stolarz, who actually played really well this past season, had really good save percentage, they have a really good chance. I mean, like we talked to Andrew Weiss earlier, Florida's probably got, the overall better roster. They just won last year, so they are the defending champs. So all that being said, I think they got a really good, chance of winning. It's just going to be, all about this goaltender. We've seen before. You get a hot goaltender, you can do a lot of stuff in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Absolutely. And then for the Florida Gators, their basketball squad, Todd Golden, the head coach, got the bag. He's going to get a extension for 6 years worth $40.5 million. All right, this is Mascot Mayhem, and we'll go to about 5:45 in this segment. I've got something that I'd like to play pertaining to Greg Popovich here in the next segment. So how it's going to work is I've got a couple of different type of competitions, and we pit 2 mascots against each other. We're going to start it off with Uga, the mascot for Georgia, versus Smokey, the mascot for the Tennessee Volunteers, in a dog park agility race. And I put this in here specifically because I want to hear Tyler's answer. I want to hear Tyler pick a English bulldog to win in a dog park agility race. I didn't say a skateboarding competition, a dog park agility race. So, Tyler, who wins? Uga versus Smokey in a dog park agility race.
Am I having to bet money on this?
No. This is just, we're just making the case here for comedic relief.
Obviously, the hound dog is probably going to have a better chance of, doing you're talking like the American Kennel Club.
Yeah. AKC, baby.
Yeah, I mean, the Georgia English Bulldog is not known as the most graceful animal on the planet, but go dogs always, baby. I ain't picking Smokey for nothing.
If it was a slobbering competition, I think that
who can sit on a bag of ice in a doghouse? Okay, has that on the rock.
There you go. Rick, who would win here? You got the Bulldog or you got the Hound?
That's easy for me, man. I got to go with the Hound Dog. If you're doing the agility test and you're throwing money on this or something, you got to go with the animal that's quicker with the longer legs.
Yeah, no doubt. I would take Smokey as well. The next, we have a barbecue rib eating contest, and we're going to have Revel from Texas A&M. Don't forget when Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban had words, we had someone call in saying that they were going to go shoot Revel. That was do you remember that show? Were you? I don't know if you were in.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I do. Yes.
I didn't know if you were in the building with us or not, but so Revel from Texas A&M or Bevo from Texas in a barbecue rib eating contest. Tyler, lead us off.
I mean, a steer isn't going to eat ribs, right?
That's what I was thinking.
It's got to be Revel, right? It's got to. Dog would chow.
They are grass-fed ribs, though, if that helps.
No. Give me the Border Collie Rebel.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, like, you're talking cannibalism if Bevo ends up eating those ribs, probably, as long as they're beef ribs. If they're not, they're pork. I mean, I guess it's not, but still barnyard animals, eating barnyard animals. So, yeah, give me the dog.
Yeah, I'll go with Revel as well. For the same reason, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like, what? I mean, what, you're going to
Is it Revel or is it Reveille? Like, when they do the military, they have Reveille. And I'm wondering if that's how you pronounce his name. Or
it might be Reveille. Okay. I don't know.
I just ruin it. No.
Morgan will tell us tomorrow. How about that?
You'll ask her.
Yeah. And then James Fife, I'm glad that I was thinking about him when we were talking about the dog park agility race, because he trains dogs and stuff like that. He says Smokey smokes Ugga. Willie the Wildcat from Kansas State versus the Hokey Bird Virginia Tech's mascot in a mascot rap battle. I'll start with this. I think the Hokey Bird's got a little bit more swag than what Willie the Wildcat. Willie the Wildcat's got the better rap name, I would say. Yeah. But the Hokey Bird, I mean, he can get in there, do the hokey pokey.
Well, and
keep the lyrics flowing.
And unless they've changed recently, I can't say. But back in the day when NCAA used to have mascot mode, Willie the Wildcat is like a Wildcat mascot head on just like a normal person's body.
Yeah,
they're wearing like a jersey and like pants. So it's a really awkward thing to look at. So give me the Hokey Bird. He's definitely gonna have a little bit more swag to him about that. Like the Willie the Wildcat is just odd.
Rick?
Yeah, same thing. Give me the turkey Vatek they use. It was at Enter Sandman, Metallica, part of their music and stuff.
Yeah.
So it might be something cool. So yeah, definitely give me Vatek.
All right, this one's fun for you Ivy Leaguers out there, and maybe Tho would like to add his 2 cents on this one. Princeton Tiger versus Harvard's John Harvard statue in a philosophy debate. Cape and Rick, which one? You got Princeton or Harvard in this one?
Well, I'm from Jersey, right? And I, from Mercer County is where I originally lived, which is where Princeton University is at. So I'm going to take the Princeton Tiger. They're pretty smart over there, too. So.
All right. Tyler?
I'll take the Fighting Ryan Fitzpatrick's Harvard, baby.
Harvard? That's what I'm trying to think is, like, who do I like better out of these two schools that I could never, they could give me a, well, probably cost more than $1 million to get 4 years of study out of there, but they could give me a free full ride, and I still would find a way for them not to let me in.
I get Bart Simpson to cut the head off of John Harvard statue, like when he cut the head off of Jebediah Springfield statue.
There you go. All right, I'll take Harvard's John Harvard statue in a philosophy debate. Actually, no, I'm going to take the Princeton Tiger, because neither one of these things are going to be able to talk very well, right? That's like an unwritten rule. Mascots can't talk outside of the Hokey Bird and Willie the Wildcat, because they're not talking. The
Tiger can walk up to the statue and lift its leg.
Yeah, there we go. The Nittany Lion versus the Wolverine in a snowball fight at midfield. My answer to this one would be like, well, where are we? Are we in Michigan? Are we at Happy Valley? Like, where are we at? Because there's got to be a little home field advantage. I think that I would take the Wolverine. That's a nasty little animal, isn't it?
Does Michigan even have like
a mascot?
Like I don't think they have a costume.
It's just their helmet.
I don't think they have a costume or a live mascot, because I don't think you own a Wolverine. So I mean, I think just by default, Nittany Lion, at least they have the costume mascot. He's gonna be fighting nobody. He's gonna be fighting air. It
looks like back in the day they did have a mascot of a Wolverine. Bob Brown and Biff, the Wolverine mascot of Michigan athletic teams, is noted for its ferocity and gameness in battle, a characteristic of every team that wears the maize and blue. Then in 1927, the Detroit Zoo acquired 10 Wolverines from Alaska. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Yeah, I don't think they actually have a mascot, so I think the Nittany Lions gonna have to win by default.
It was Biff in the 1920s and the 1930s. So being that he's so old,
100 plus years old now,
I'll take the Nittany Lion because he's basically just in his casket or wherever they got him.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing, Nittany Lion. I mean, you would have thought by now they would have adopted like Logan, Wolverine, X-Men.
They could have done something cool with that. I mean, I don't know how marketing and copyright gets.
Well, I mean, the helmet basically, that's how his logo looks like in his costume. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I mean, that's where they got it from.
There's definitely
they got the link.
Promise there. I like that.
We've got the Gator, that's Albert, right?
Yeah,
Albert. Florida Gators. Yeah, I don't know why they just call him the Gator. And then the Gamecock. I don't know what the name of South Carolina's.
Cocky.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
See, this is why mascot mode needs to be in college football 26.
But South Carolina, they do have a mascot.
I know more about it from the sport. This is Sports Center commercials.
Oh yeah, those were.
I know they had like the live Gamecock. I forgot they had a costumed guy.
Yeah.
They do. So we'll let it go.
All right, they're going to be in a swamp karaoke fight. So we're going with Albert, or are we going with the Gamecock Cocky? Go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, man, I don't really want to pick either of these.
It's a swamp karaoke night, so this is easy. I'm going with I'm going with Albert, man.
Yeah,
I think that
He'll be over there singing Tom
Gamecocks
Petty,
can
not stand down or won't back down like they.
Chickens can be fighting, around the swamps, but who rules the swamp? It's definitely the daggum alligators, and he's probably going to sing a little bit better after a full meal of chicken. So I'm going to go with Albert.
Yeah, I would say that too. If he was still alive, I'd say Steve Irwin crashed the party, crikey, and put Albert in a headlock, and then the Gamecock would win.
All right. Last one here. Nitro, the UCF mascot, taking on the Kansas Jayhawk in a jousting tournament, but they're on scooters, which would actually be a very fun event to try to make happen. Tyler, who do you got winning this one?
You got to give it to the Knight, right? He's already experienced in this field. I can't imagine there's that many Jayhawks walking around with with jousting experience going.
That's what I'll probably do too. You probably should have took. Oh man, I'm trying to think which.
Like Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights.
Scarlet Knights. Yeah, but that's Knight for Knight.
Or I was thinking of the team that's got the. Like the Musketeers, the dude with the
Xavier?
Yeah, Xavier. Yeah.
Well, that Virginia's got the Cavalier.
Virginia's got the Cavaliers.
Three Musketeer looking.
Yeah.
No, UCF's going to claim the championship anyway, so it don't matter.
Right.
In fact, I'll go with the Jayhawk, though, just because they're on scooters, and I feel like that Jayhawk's going to be able to move a little bit faster compared to the Nitro, which actually a Jayhawk, even though we see it pictured as a bird, is actually like the people of Kansas back in some war times. I want to say Civil War times.
Oh, like one of the infantry divisions or something like that?
No, like that's what like they called, man.
I know like their thing is Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I know that's like their chant, I guess is maybe the best way to put it. Whatever you want. I mean, I don't know what the exact term, but their motto, maybe.
Yeah, their fight decree, if you will. A Jayhawk is a mythical bird and the mascot of the University of Kansas. The term also has historical roots, referring to anti-slavery guerrilla fighters in Kansas during the 1850s.
It should be the Jaywalkers. Like not crossing at the crosswalk.
There you go. Caveman Rick, Tyler Bishop, David Hayes here. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to go ahead and take a quick timeout. We'll come back with some local scores, try to talk a little bit more about this mascot, or try to go over some more battles in Mascot Mayhem, and maybe have a little bit of time to talk Greg Popovich.
A two-run home run.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Speedway Center, a home Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Introducing Southern Breeze Primary Care. With 45 years of experience, owners Holly Gay and Lisa King bring warm, friendly care, Southern charm, and a family vibe. They are the pros in youth sports, physicals, general health care, BioT hormone replacement therapy, certified DOT exams, and Coast Guard physicals. Southern Breeze, 107 West 19th Street, Suite B, 850-248-8002. Walk-ins are welcome and insurance is accepted but not required. Southern Breeze offers breezy solutions for your health care needs.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. He stuck his head in the microwave and chanted Hot Pocket. Hot Pocket! Caveman Rick is part of the Afternoon Underdogs.
Hope you're drunk or heading home to a trailer.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back. This is our final segment of the afternoon. I'm David Hayes along with Tyler Bishop and Caveman Rick. We're the Afternoon Underdogs live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Atlanta Braves coming up next. First pitch will be at 6:15. Chris Sale on the bump. Looking to kind of right his season a little bit. The 4th annual Pop's Pig Pickin' Barbecue. All proceeds will go to benefit hurricane relief efforts. Dinner tickets are $20, and there's a pool tournament starting at 1 p.m. for $15. In honor of Chef Ross's dad, Ron Pops Robinson. This will be Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 6 p.m. at the Break Room, 2727 Joan Avenue is the address. Also, don't forget about the Inside Drive right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. For a regional final series, last night you had Arnold take care of business against Clay 2-0. That was game 1. Game 2 will be tonight at 7 p.m. right over there at Arnold's baseball field. 3A regional final series, South Walton keeps on rolling. They shut out Sewanee 3-0. Game 2 tonight, I believe, at 7 p.m. as well. Then you've got the 2A regional series. Bozeman finds themselves in trouble again as they fall to Trinity Christian 10-0. But in the first round of the playoffs, they lost to, I forget who it was at this point in time, but they lost like 16-5, only to bounce back and win the next 2 teams. So let's hope that Bozeman can get it done tonight and force a game 3, which would return the series back here to Bozeman. In the rural regional final series, Port St. Joe, they shut out Cottondale 2-0 in game 1, and then Holmes beat Jay 10-5. Port St. Joe and Cottondale will start at 6:30 Central Time. Holmes at 7. Trinity Christian and Bozeman, which they're over there in Jacksonville, will start at 7 p.m. I believe that's our time, but it could be Eastern Time as well. Let's see. I don't think we have any softball games going on tonight. Gulf Coast Baseball, they will be traveling to Port Charlotte, I believe Thursday. They've got a game Friday at 4 p.m. In regional play there. So I'm going to be trying to get Coach Tyler Younger on the line with us as we progress through the week. I think what I'm going to do, Caveman Rick, is hold off on the Greg Popovich stuff till tomorrow. I believe we'll have Adam in, and we'll have 3 basketball fans in here, and kind of and we might have Banji. I don't know if he's going to be in studio with us or on the phone, but we will have Banji Bombadella back with us tomorrow afternoon. So let's get back to what do you want to talk about something serious or some more about those mascots?
It's up to you. If you got something serious, we can serious it up. If not, be a Mascot Tuesday.
All right, Mascot Tuesday is what it is. Actually, I want to look through the questions that I have for you and see if there's anyone that I definitely... What do you think about that Notre Dame and Clemson? Extending that series, they're going to be going all the way through 2038. It will count as one of Notre Dame's 5 games, but do we think that the ACC and Notre Dame will renew that? I don't know how long they've got their contract to play 5 games a year. Notre Dame, obviously, I think it benefits them to some extent to stay in that conference, playing just 5 games, but not being a part of the conference. Yeah. At some point in time, though, I feel like the College Football Playoff Committee's got to be like, look, you're the lone team out here. You're the only team. Yes, you play 5 games in arguably the weakest conference of the Power 4. Arguably. I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying that anyone who watches college football can make the argument that it's the weakest. Okay? That's all. Argue with yourself. Beyond that, shouldn't the committee kind of sit there and say, all right, Notre Dame, it's time. Like Big Ten, I don't care where it is you go, but you got to go somewhere. Then now for Notre Dame on their side, sorry to cut you off, but it's
good.
like from Notre Dame's standpoint, it's like, yeah, I would rather be playing the 5 games in the ACC. I would rather be not having to share any of my money for getting deep into the playoffs with anyone else. So Notre Dame's got it exactly where they want to. Plus, they can have the slip up like they did last year against Northern Illinois, bounce back on a primary basically a weak schedule, and find ways to win games, and then find themselves in the playoff.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, I feel like this kind of like panic move is kind of what led to the ACC signing the grant of rights deal that they're in now, and the bane of Florida State and Clemson's existence. But it's a good move for Notre Dame, because as long as Notre Dame can stay in the ACC as a member for everything but football and then reap all the benefits of their own personal TV contract, they'd be stupid to change. Until they can't, I mean, again, I know the big deal is they can't get a bye week, whatever, they're getting a bye week by not playing a conference championship game anyway. I guess there's probably no huge buyout, so it's kind of one of those things like you might as well sign this contract for both sides, and then we can always, get rid of it in 3 years, 5 years. But from a Clemson standpoint, it's weird because right now you have your 8-game ACC schedule. You have South Carolina, who you play every year. Now you're adding Notre Dame to that. They've got series scheduled with Georgia. Like, I believe it's a 3-game series that's going to come up. I believe it's like one more neutral site game, a home and home. And I think that's kind of in the 20-31-ish area, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. So, like, are you going to play all three of those out-of-conference games plus your 8-game ACC? You're setting yourself up for a very tough schedule. And based on what we've seen from the committee this past year, they didn't really give you any benefit of the doubt for a tough schedule, right? Like, I mean, Indiana got in with a relatively easy schedule. Penn State, Texas, there's a lot of teams that got very highly ranked despite not playing a lot of the best teams of their conference in the regular season. So what's advantageous for Clemson at this point? I mean, Notre Dame, a lot of reasons why it's a good move for them. But for Clemson, I don't know if I see the point. I don't think a game against Notre Dame is going to get you in over another team. I don't know if it's going to be a deal breaker. And now you're just adding yourself another chance to get a loss and potentially the first time it knocks them out of the playoff picture, people are going to be like, why the heck did we schedule this on top of Clemson, or on top of South Carolina, on top of the teams like Georgia and LSU and Auburn? I mean, they've played a lot of Texas A&M. They've had some series with a lot of these SEC teams over the past decade since Dabo's been there. And I just don't know why Clemson would do that to themselves. I mean, until the committee proves that strength of schedule matters, what's the point? I just feel like you're doing too much at this point right now, Clemson. Maybe they know something I don't as far as the selection process. Obviously, there's talk of the playoff expanding after this season. And so maybe a lot of that kind of makes this a moot point. But in the short term, I just don't know why Clemson would do it.
That's also a good point. I really didn't think about it from that perspective, from the side of Clemson and what they've got going on. But at the same time, now, no matter who you are, if you've got Notre Dame on your schedule, that's a marquee game on your schedule.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like LSU and Clemson are playing week 1 this year.
Yeah.
And so, now you would play South Carolina, LSU, and Notre Dame, or South Carolina, on top of your 8 game. I mean, granted, to your point, ACC was one of the weaker Power 4, definitely in the bottom 2. Maybe number 4, depends on who you ask, and that argument's a whole different rabbit hole we can go down on a different day and get some callers to call and yell at us and tell us why we're dumb. But, I mean, so maybe you're kind of you're kind of trying to make up for some of that, but I just don't know if it's enough to make a difference, and you're just opening yourself up for failure.
And there you go. Open yourself up for failure. Will defensive coordinators finally catch up to the modern tempo, the hybrid screams, or is offense just too dominant now?
I think partially is the rules are too skewed towards the offense. And so, until we get a little bit more evenness there, I don't think you're going to see it. You'll still see some great teams, but I don't think you're going to see as many great defenses as you see offenses. I think part of it is you see it from a lower level now. The best athletes want to play on offense now, whether it's quarterback, thanks to guys like Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, and guys even Cam Newton, Mike Vick back in the day. We're seeing that kind of style become more prevalent, and so kids at a younger age are kind of moving that way. You're seeing the way wide receivers are getting paid right now. I mean, wide receivers are getting paid elite money. So why would you want to play defense when you can catch touchdowns and make a ton of money?
Yeah.
The running back position has been a little devalued, but we've seen tight ends kind of grow in value and prevalence as far as their usage when you've got a free guy like a Tyler Warren or a Brock Bowers. So I think that's part of it. I think partially guys are wanting to play off. Like if you're not going to be a Micah Parsons premier edge rusher, the odds of you getting elite pay in the NFL, you know what I'm saying? Like you get a few guys, you'll get Micah Parsons. Jalen Carter will break the bank. We've seen some lockdown corners, but how many lockdown corners do you feel like are in the NFL right now? I don't think it's a huge number. But you're looking at the wide receivers, and like these guys are getting paid. You're getting one or two other guys with you and that quarterback. Now all of a sudden, like, oh, we have a really fun offense. It's just more fun. You have to be a sick individual to love hitting people, which is great because, I mean, it's a lot of fun when you can do it and do it well, but you got to be a little different there, you know? And I think it's partially we're seeing the talent want to play on offense. The money's on offense. The rules are on offense. The offense pays the bills better. Nobody wants to watch a 6-3 game for the most part, even though it can be as fun in its own way. So I think partially it's just everything is skewing towards the offense, and it's just going to be hard to see defenses keep pace.
All right, we've got less than a minute, so Caveman, we'll start with you here. Our final mascot mayhem of the day, Puddles, the duck for Oregon, taking on Cocky, the South Carolina mascot, in a WWE cage match.
All right, give me Puddles, the duck. A duck can, like, fly, it can walk, it can swim, it can do all three. Give me the duck.
All right.
Puddles is a character. He's one of the most, like, recognizable mascots. Crazy man when he's on game day, so give me Puddles.
Give me Cocky because he's going to peck those duck wings over and over. That duck ain't flying nowhere. And then if it was a goose, it would be different. Those things are mean. They can be absolutely mean. But since it's a duck, I'm going to take Cocky, the gamecock, the fighting chicken, to get in there and ruffle some feathers. Pun intended, no doubt about it. Tyler, as always, it's been great to have you here with us on a Tuesday afternoon. Your Atlanta Braves coming up next. It's going to be Abbott versus Sale on the bump. So keep it locked in here. For Caveman Rick, for Tyler Bishop, I'm David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. Just remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.
The game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the sports talk